back block, and that's
Guy that throws his body around.
Mike Drop Sports. Steel City Live.
What's up, everybody? Make sure you're putting your comments, questions, and concerns inside of the live chat. We appreciate y'all for diving in here on our daily live show that we need to make more daily here now that football season's starting to roll. But we appreciate you for diving in with us. So make sure you put your comments, questions, all that good stuff inside of the chat as we will dive into Pittsburgh Steelers training camp thus far here and some of what you guys think, what your real thoughts are on the Steelers and how they have preformed thus far. I know it's a kind of hard to visualize this football team right now as it sits, considering you're looking at a football team that hasn't really had much live action. Today's practice moved inside after rain soaking the fields of Latrobe, Pennsylvania. So backs on backers was expected today. But when you move those things inside, you're just going to have to move on to the next practice session and do some of those hitting drills and some of those things outside when you get back out. It's sunny southwestern Pennsylvania, so you're going to have that crazy weather in the summertime. So it's either going to be crazy hot or you're going to have some storms and it's going to be crazy. So, it is what it is. But if you're not watching it now, you can watch it later after it uploads. But again, we enjoy you coming in here live with us each and every day. Again, make sure you put your comments, questions, and concerns inside of the chat on what you want to speak about here tonight. We'll kind of chill and slow roll this thing as we move forward to allow some people to move in. We're not in our normal time here. We're always usually about 6 o'clock, but football practice and things of that nature have adjusted some things here for us during the football season. So we'll see how this all rolls, and we'll try to start doing them here a little bit later in the evening each and every night to still get a live show in each day. So, yeah, here we are. Again, guys, I'm just going to mess with this. Hold on one second. But again, we're going to let everybody kind of filter in here and allow some things to go. Daniel Warman, what's up? Hey, Jason Trey going to Cincinnati to join the team. I don't know if he signed yet. Who are you talking about? Trey, who? Who are you talking about, Daniel? I'm not sure. What's up, another Wombat? Good to see you. Put it in there, Daniel, what you're talking about. Trey, who? I'm not sure who you were talking about. I might be out of the loop with that one. But they did get Stewart back in. So you know what was crazy about that Stewart that Stewart deal? Oh, Trey Hendrickson. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was just saying, making sure. That's who I thought, and then I'm like, I better make sure. But yeah, we'll see. They need to get him signed. They have to. I mean, they got to. Shamir Stewart, though, was a weird one there. And I don't understand, though, and I think that's more on Stewart's I would say that that was more Stewart's representation because they were fighting for things that, they wanted that guarantee money, especially early. And, I guess really all they got was 500 grand in terms of, their way, Stewart's way. It was just weird because it seemed like the team still got everything that they wished to be in the contract, but, Stewart didn't. And that was kind of weird and a waste of 3 months, and that I don't know if I'd put that on the Bengals. That one I'm going to put on the player because they didn't get anything accomplished. And I don't even know if I put it on the player as much as the representation because you're losing those valuable reps that you need, the mini camps, the training camp reps. You're losing those things that are so imperative to your success as a rookie that you have to have those. You have to get that acclimation period of adjusting to the NFL game, the speed of the NFL game, and you're not getting that training by yourself. You need to be around players and learning the speed and seeing the speed in full, up close and personal. And that was just something very troubling to me. And I'm not sure why they allowed that to go on. But I can't blame the Bengals there. And I wanted to at first, definitely wanted to at first, because it seemed as though it was their issue. But then you look at how it happened, it doesn't really seem like it was because they didn't get anything done on Shamir Stewart's side. But Trey Hendrickson, they need to get him signed, no doubt about that for sure. Yeah, we're gonna continue to roll through here, guys. I want you guys to let me know what you guys think about training camp so far here in the National Football League. What are some of the big things that you're liking this training camp session here? You look at some of the injuries that have happened already. You got a lower body or soft tissue type injury to Broderick Jones. Mike Tomlin says he should be back at practice tomorrow, so that doesn't seem to be significant. But I got to tell you this: Broderick's really, really, really got to hit that technique this year. Technique has to be his main focus. He cannot rely on brute strength to beat everybody anymore. It's just not going to happen. When you're the left franchise tackle, um, you have to be able to really have that technique, have that ability to adjust to game in, game out, where you're adjusting to those pass rushers. There's some elite pass rushers in this league that have very differing skill sets that you really have to be able to adjust, and you're not going to be able to beat them with brute strength because they're just equally as strong. You have to be able to rely on your technique and understand the play calls, the situation, and really get that taken off and getting heading in the right direction for Broderick Jones. And that's going to be my main concern right here this year for the Steelers. Is that I don't know if Broad's up for this just yet. I mean, I just don't know. It seems odd to me. Um, that he hasn't hit more of his stride. I would love to see him have hit more last year, but 3 to 5 years, I give it to where you're getting full tilt as an offensive lineman. But man, I need to see more from Broderick Jones here as the pads come on. I gotta see him really start to dominate some of these reps. And yeah, it's going to be difficult when you're going up against guys like T.J. Watt, when you're going up against guys like Alex Highsmith, the Herbigs. Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but you got to win those reps. And the good thing for Broderick Jones is he gets to go against elite pass rush. So that should benefit him in a great, great, great way. So Broderick Jones' technique has to be his biggest thing, and staying healthy. He cannot afford a ton of injuries this year. That's going to derail Broderick, man. And the Steelers are going to dip back in next year in the left tackle market. I can guarantee that for sure. Mark Collins, good evening, Jason. I believe it's time to move on from Broderick Jones. I was reading and watching a podcast. He is down to 285 pounds at this point. I think he is a bust. I'm not worried about the weight. The weight I can deal with. The weight, I feel like he could be more athletic, Mark. That's my opinion about the weight. The weight I think is okay. I don't know if he's down to 285, but maybe he is. But I still feel like he's hovering around that 300 mark. But he probably lost a lot, and he's going to bulk back up hopefully a little bit toward the season. We'll see how that goes, the weight shit. But you know how those are listed in the programs. They're not always accurate. They're inflated sometimes. They're under what they are sometimes. They're never truly really accurate. But the weight thing I'm okay with. Again, I think that's going to be a benefit in some aspects for him, and maybe a negative in some. But I think overall, if you're a better athlete and you can move faster and you could be more comfortable in your movements, and maybe that allows his technique to start to progress a little bit better. As a third year guy, we'll hope for that. But again, I don't know if Broderick's a bust. I gotta see it this year though. I gotta see him a progression, and we can't forget year one was good for him. I don't think it was a bust. I think it was a good year playing right tackle. I think last year was a bad year. Absolutely, it was. Injuries didn't help that matter. But I think it was a bad year for Broderick last year. So we'll say he's 50-50 so far. So I can't call him a bust just yet when I haven't seen consecutive years of him playing poorly. So now that he finally gets the chance to go to this left tackle position, it's on Broderick. Brod's got to make the most of this opportunity. He can't come out there and fall flat on his face because he's going to get his quarterback destroyed. And Aaron Rodgers is older, and you don't want him taking unnecessary hits game in, game out. So Broderick's really got to be on his P's and Q's this year. And I believe there's going to be some things to help Broderick Jones and the rest of that offensive line. You're going to have Aaron Rodgers being able to get the ball out a little bit quicker. and being a little bit more accurate and decisive with his decision making. I believe also the run game is the best way to start any offensive line down the road to success. You want to be able to run the ball effectively. And I believe right now they have Caleb Johnson, they have Jalen Warren, and I believe they're going to be able to run the ball effectively. So that is going to naturally help that offensive line in a big, big way. But again, I think it's all technique for Broderick Jones this year. We know he's strong. We know he can win in those types of situations, but we need to see that knowledge base expand. We need to see that technique expand. And if that doesn't start to happen now, and I always say this, and I don't know if I'm wrong, and I'm not saying there aren't outliers to where there's guys that hit earlier or come out and can play instantly, but it usually typically takes in the National Football League a good 3 years for an offensive lineman to really start to get the knowledge base and the athleticism to come together to play effectively at the pro level. So this is that sweet spot for him. You're heading into year three. Your technique hasn't been the greatest, even in your rookie season when you were ultra successful. That was more brute strength than anything. Now the technique has to be there. The sound understanding of how to use your hands and how not to get those penalties, how to play smart, how to play inside your emotions. Don't let your emotions win a lot of those times. And I think that that's another issue for Broad in some instances. He allows his emotions to come out there and be a little bit overwhelming for him at times. So Broderick Jones, emotions in check, understanding where to get your hands, where to be effective in terms of not getting penalties called on you down in and down out, and really leaning on that technique has to be his three things this summer that he has to be focusing on heading into the 2025 season. But a bust, I can't call him just yet because he's not played enough football to be a bust. So I won't classify guys as busts too early. And I think we throw that word around a little bit too loosely at times. And I'm a guy I got to give you a few years because it is a big adjustment. The college game is not the National Football League. It is not the same game. The speed in the NFL is vastly different. Everybody is good in the National Football League. Everybody. It's not like college where you're going to dominate a lot of the times because you're playing the scrub schools. You're just kicking the shit out of people that aren't good, and that shows. And it allows you to shine. In the National Football League, you can't hide. Everybody is good. You can't hide anywhere on a Sunday, no matter what your position is. And I think it's really exemplified on the offensive line. For that matter, I think that's where it shows because the speed is so vastly different from the college game when you're looking at the edge rushers in the NFL as opposed to the college level. It is way different. The defensive front guys are just way, way stronger, faster. Yeah, you're going to have your outliers each week where you're going to catch a guy that's going to be in the NFL playing with you on Sundays. But for the majority, 99.9% of those guys aren't going to be playing in the NFL that you're playing against in the college ranks. And then you're going to that 1% of the entire world that plays in the NFL. So it is different and it takes time to adjust. So I don't want to just label people as busts real early. So you won't hear me use that word. Now, sometimes it's, immediately with people. I'll use it if it's obvious and it's been some time, absolutely. But I won't use it too early. And I think right now it's too early to call Broderick Jones a bust. Now, if he has a terrible year and is absolutely dog shit here in 2025, then the bust tag may be fair. Danny George says, hope to see you at camp Saturday. You may, man. You actually may, Danny. I hope to see you too if I do get there. Oh, excuse me, guys. My stomach's been hurting all day today, too. So I'm trying to push through that. Would you? This is from Daniel Warman. Would you play Aaron Rodgers in the preseason? If the Steelers stay healthy, they're going to have a great season. It's going to be so much fun. I think the AFC North as a whole is going to be a lot of fun, Daniel. I really, really do. I think it's going to be a really fun division to watch. I think it's going to be full of real, real tight competition. I think the games are going to be really good. I definitely think health definitely has a big role in that, though. At the level of competition and what's it going to be and which teams fall off the map and all that. That happens every year. But when I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers, the first part of your question, would I play him in the preseason? Yeah, a series or two. I need to see some sort of timing. I need to see something. But do I have to? No. He could come out there week one and let it rip. I'm not risking hurting Aaron Rodgers early in the preseason or early in the season. I'm going to try to run the ball effectively. I'm going to try to be really, really fundamentally sound in terms of moving the football, keeping him clean, and again, protecting him with quick passes, play action passes. I'm going to kind of set him up to get this offense in rhythm. And I don't necessarily believe that you have to see a ton of him in the preseason. So to answer your question, probably a series or two. Mark Collins, I know this may be a stretch, but I think the Steelers should give Washington a nice contract and convert him to a left offensive tackle. They have done it before, and and he's their best blocker. Um, I don't think they're going to do that. I just don't believe it. Now, maybe could it work? Yeah. Um, but he's not. Mm, that's a tough one. Those are tough situations. They don't often happen, but they have. And Alejandro Villanueva was a defensive lineman, I believe, and then converts over to the offensive front. So you look at those instances, but they are very few and far between. I'm not saying it's an impossible thing, but I don't think it's on the Steelers' radar right now to do something of that nature for Darnell Washington. And I don't believe it's on Darnell's radar right now. I think Darnell Washington believes he can be a very successful every down type tight end. I believe he thinks that in his head, and uh, I can see a lot of potential there. I would really like to see how this season goes for Darnell with an efficient quarterback. And somebody that can maybe get him the ball a little bit more. So we'll see how that all plays out. But I don't think that particular situation right now, Mark, is on the Steelers' radar, but I'm not saying that it's an impossibility. I'm not. But I'm saying that's not probably something they're talking about. Robert Tamburo, hey, giving injury or injuring to last year's rookie right tackle with Broderick, wouldn't it be wise if the Steelers brought in a more substantial backup tackle instead of over investing D in? Okay, so you're saying, Robert, that you think that they should bring in depth, and I think you're absolutely right. Depth is always the key there, especially along the trenches, and I believe they possess it in the defensive front. But when you're talking about the offensive front, I don't think the depth is quite where it needs to be. I don't. Now, I have faith in guys like Spencer Anderson, but he's a guard. Um, you look at some of the other guys around there, I'm okay with them. Brooks and all those guys. I believe I said his name right. Brooks? That's on. Maybe I'm missing people. I don't know. It's training camp. There's too many names to remember. But anyway, I believe the Steelers do need to get an investment there. But when you find guys that are out there on the free agency market or getting cut for a team, they got cut for a reason. They're not probably, this special talent that you think you're going to be able to bring in. That's probably not the case. And teams don't trade away usually any player of significance along the offensive front, especially because they are too valuable. That's why they get paid. They are just way too valuable to separate from. And those guys typically aren't on the market. Now, if you could find a deal, yeah, execute it. I'm okay with that. But the thing is, finding a deal, and there's so few and far between finding those deals and finding those players that can become available for you to acquire. That's the issue, Robert, with that. And I know a lot of fans are like, go get this, go grab that, go get that. It's availability, you know what I mean? And yeah, they've drafted there. They've drafted there. But they need the depth, no doubt about it. And if they can make a deal work and find a player, great. But chances are Probably not. Probably not, guys. They can get some middle of the road guys to fill in if they need it, backup guys. But they're probably just not going to find those guys because they're just not available. DJ Thomas, what's up? Robert also says, given Jalen Warren tied Christian McCaffrey for the number one running back in the NFL with the most yards per carry, isn't he getting screwed this year, them bringing in Gainwell, who's the same sort of back? I don't think Gainwell's the same sort of back. I think Gainwell's a little bit different. I think they're going to try to use Kenneth Gainwell, Robert, more in the pass game. Jalen Warren can be more effective in the run game, too, than Kenneth Gainwell, in my opinion. I don't consider them the same type of back. I think Jalen Warren can be an every down back in the National Football League. Kenneth Gainwell's more of a third down type running back to me, in my opinion, right now. Now I haven't got to see a ton of him yet, and that opinion may change. But I don't think Jalen Warren's getting screwed. I think you want a stable of running backs. If you're talking about getting screwed, if you're Jalen Warren, if you want to use that tag, I would say bringing in Caleb Johnson is more of a screw job than Kenneth Gainwell, because he's better than Kenneth Gainwell, in my opinion. I think Jalen Warren is a guy that's earned the right to tote the football for the Steelers. But if you look at the stable right now, I think Jalen Warren's a big enough team player that he understands to have versatility in that room is only going to make them all better. And I think having guys like Caleb Johnson, Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Warren all put together, I think you're going to be in for a really exciting year in that running back room. And I don't think anybody's screwed there because I think there's a role there for everybody. And I think there's enough footballs to go around, guys. And that goes for all over the offense because they want to be versatile. They want to do different things. They want to get the ball and spread it around. They don't want to go to the same player every down. And that needs to be their mindset because that wins football games, keeping defenses guessing. So I don't think he's screwed, and not in my opinion anyway. DJ Thomas, if the Steelers are all in this year, should they have kept Dan Moore Jr. over Jones? Jones is still developing. Dan gives that now. I think Dan Moore Jr. sucks. That's my opinion, DJ. I think Dan Moore Jr. had a great beginning part of last year. He did good, and then he fell off the map. He was absolutely terrible. And if the Steelers could have got rid of him, they would have. But they had no one to put there because Broderick had to play right. Dan refused to play right. They had to. In my eyes, I think the Titans completely bounced and made a big overpay for Dan Moore Jr. That's just my opinion. Now, maybe he goes there and succeeds because it's a different system. Maybe he shines better and brighter in a different system. But if you look at Dan Moore Jr.'s performance, nothing screamed out to you to pay that guy that type of money. I just wouldn't have done it. And if that's what he was going to get, the Steelers had no chance of retaining him. So whether or not the Steelers wanted to retain him or not, they weren't going to pay him that crazy amount of money that the Titans did. And the Steelers, rightfully so, shouldn't have. And they knew better. And I think they were right on that one. Now, I'm not saying they haven't missed before, but Dan Moore Jr. did nothing, in my eyes, to deserve $85 million. Steelers over investing in D put them so thin at O positions that there's several guys that if any one of them go down, the whole season sunk. Rogers, DK, Siamalu being three of them. Caleb, and Frazier also. I think the only thing that lacks depth on the offensive side of the football right now is the offensive line, and that's a big issue, no doubt. I don't think wide receivers bad. I mean, I think they'll still add there, but we've talked about that before. We'll just have to see how everything unfolds, and I think they got some other weapons. I think the running back room's full of successful people or potentially successful people. And I don't think the quarterback room's in bad shape. We can discount Mason Rudolph all you want, but he won games when he was with the black and gold the last time. And I'm okay with putting Mason Rudolph out there. And all the great things that are being said about Will Howard right now, I'm okay with it. He's a third string quarterback. So, hey, it is what it is. And I'm okay with what they got going on. I don't think the depth is lacking there. They have massive amount of tight ends, quality, all pro type tight ends all over the place. I just don't think that, we can sit there and just say, oh, the defensive spending has killed the offense. I don't think that to be true. And I don't think, one injury is going to sink the Steelers season. That's just not what I believe. I believe that there's way more depth than a lot of fans want to realize. But offensive line is an issue in terms of depth. That's where I think they lack the most in terms of depth offensively. Mark Collins. Calvin Anderson is a right tackle. Dylan Cook is left tackle and guard. Yeah, that's who I was talking about. Cook, Anderson. Spencer Anderson also is a guard. Um, but and you'll see Spencer Anderson fill in a lot. Calvin Anderson, I believe, filled in when Broderick went down in practice, and Broderick should be back. That injury doesn't appear to be something that's going to keep him out long term, at least not for right now. Now that could change. Those hamstring type injuries, those quad type injuries are finicky, and you'll never know how that will happen. But definitely, yeah, they don't got enough depth, in my opinion. Yeah, they've played a little bit of everywhere, and that's a good thing, but we still need a little bit more depth. I just don't know where you find it, Mark. That's the thing. So we'll see. Maybe they're just going to have to roll with what they got, and those guys will have to fill in the best they can. Roberta Campbell, what's up? Good to see you. Offensive depth isn't where it needs to be. It's because they've been over investing in D in that area, mostly rewarding other. I just don't see the total lack of depth that you're talking about. I don't. I can say it across the offensive line, but I don't think it's horrible lack of depth there. But when you're talking about the rest of that offense, they're not lacking depth anywhere really. You could get another wide receiver. I'm cool with that. Um, but I'm okay with it. I'm not really upset with the depth all over the offensive unit as a whole. I'm not anyway. Maybe some of you are, but they have a stable of tight ends, a stable of running backs. They have several good wide receivers. May not be DK Metcalf, but they have several guys that could play wide receiver. Yeah, they could add one there, but offensive line depth is probably the only thing you could really nitpick. I like their quarterback room too. Mason Rudolph can win ball games. Don't forget the running back they just signed. His name is Nichols. Yeah, they're going to sign so many people, guys. I'm not playing all these people that ain't going to be there. I'll just let you know. Maybe some of them are, but yeah, they're going to sign a ton of people. And you guys can remind me of their names and stuff because some of these people I don't invest a lot of time in because they're not going to be investing on this football team long term. We'll have to just see how it goes. But yeah, I did see they signed some more people. I believe they made several moves ahead of practice today. So yeah, you're going to see those guys. I always wait a day after they sign these guys, bring them in, they practice a day or two. Then I start to really emphasize. You know who I'm sad about is that DJ Thomas Jones. I thought he could have been something. We'll see. That sucks though for him getting injured. Roberta Campbell, I think using different running backs does keep the defense on their toes versus just basically using just one. Yeah, oh, excuse me. I don't care what level of football you play. Versatility offensively is the key to success. And you have to have a pattern when you call plays. And I don't care what you're going to do. Yes, every game is going to be an in-game feel of what you're going to lean toward. Run, pass, that yes, no doubt. But you have to have a pattern and a thought behind calling plays. Calling plays just isn't as easy as just saying, yeah, calling a play and hoping and praying that it works. That's not how offensive football works. And you need to be versatile. You need to have the ability to spread the football out. And that's the biggest thing. And we'll see how that all goes for the Steelers this year. But any good offensive coordinator, anybody that calls plays, and I don't care what level you're at, if you don't have versatility and you're just calling plays willy-nilly, you're screwing your football team. Unless you have absolute phenomenal athletes and the competition sucks, then you can get away with it and blow people out depending on what level you're at. But yeah, you got to be versatile in what you're doing. TD, what's up? What's up, Jason and chat? Hey, good to see you. Hey, we've been starting goofy times, guys, so please do not worry. We're going to get back into full tilt here at Mike Drop. We always do each season. Football season, when it starts for me, is chaotic because I coach and I'm invested in that far more than I'm invested in this, to be quite honest with you. Those kids require my attention, so I'm not going to ever shortchange that. If I'm going to shortchange anything, it'll be other things in my life. I'm not going to shortchange the kids. So, yeah, sometimes this happens, but we get back on track. We always do. And when it's in that dead period, there's really not much to talk about. So, it's one of those things you just got to kind of weigh it out and just say screw it sometimes. Good evening, Roberta, to Mark. Okay, DJ Thomas. OL, aka swing tackle safety, equals Sims, wide receiver two. They like Calvin and Wilson. Then pick up Chase Claypool for cents on the dollar. Nothing to lose. I would never bring Chase Claypool back. His attitude's horrible, guys. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't bring him back. He went everywhere and nobody would play him. That should tell you something. Robert Tamburo agreed. Jalen Warren, every down running back. He should have gotten as many snaps as Najee. Get more yards per carry. Caleb gets on Najee snaps. Arthur Smith already said he looks at Jalen as a third down only. I never heard him say that about Jalen Warren. I never heard that come out of his mouth. But yeah, I think Jalen Warren is an every down running back. I think Jalen Warren can be very successful in the National Football League, and he's proven it. I've seen that man up close several times, and I got to spend a day with him down here in Morgantown, and he's a specimen. We'll just leave it at that. TD, Tom celebrates 14 months of membership. Thank you, TD. One of our moderators also. TD, thank you, my friend, for 14 months as a Mike Drop Mafia member. Those memberships will mean something again here as we move through the season, because we are going to do some stuff, especially once my youth season starts to wind down. We're going to do some watch alongs and stuff like that. Roberta Campbell, it's all good. Off season is just take it as it comes. Everybody busy, vacations, family things, etc. We just catch when we get the chance. Yeah, that's it, Roberta. It's just a busy time. Absolutely, no doubt about it. I want to bring up something also here, real quick, about training camp that a lot of fans need to get in their skulls, man. And I'm not dogging people in our chat because I think we have some pretty good, knowledgeable fans. But a lot of fans out there, a lot of media people out there, they have to realize, man, training camp is about training. It's about trying new things. It's about trying to figure out what people are best at. You're going to see mistakes. Do not look at training camp stats. Please do not. It's stupid, guys. It's dumb. Do not look at training camp stats. It is stupidest thing you could ever do because it means nothing, man. Everybody made a big deal about Aaron Rodgers throwing an interception on the first pass. Who gives a shit? He was trying some shit. He even said it before practices even started. Hey, I'm going to be trying a bunch of different stuff. I'm going to be seeing if things work. I'm going to try to figure out how I fit best into this system. Guys, they're trying so many things. Please do not look at training camp stats. I don't care if a guy has 24 touchdowns scored. Who gives a shit? It's practice. It's practice. Let them practice. Let them try new things. What you need to look at when you're looking at these practices, what you get value out of when you're looking at these practices, is technique and fundamental things and speed and things of that nature. You don't go overreacting to a mistake being made because why? 9 times out of 10, they're trying different things. Now, some of these younger guys, you want to see them not try a bunch of different things. You want to see them get their fundamentals down and all that and get accustomed, acclimated again to the speed of the National Football League because it is vastly, vastly different than people want to believe. Go do yourself a favor and go watch a live game. Go watch a practice. Go watch the speed difference, and go to a college game on Saturday. Then go to a National Football League game on Sunday, and you will see a huge difference. Do yourself a favor and do that if you live in a place where that could possibly be an opportunity to do. But the speed is vastly different, and TV does not do it any justice. But yeah, we'll see, man. It's definitely training camp, and I want everybody to realize that. Please do not play into the stat bullshit at training camp. Man, is it dumb. Offensive lack of depth proven because of DK goes down. This season's over. If Aaron goes down, the season's nah, man. I think you're off base a little bit. Jamal, what's up, man? Good to see you. Practicing with pads is not even the same sport. No, it isn't. It isn't. And it's hard to get a lot of value out of it. And I always say that. But things you need to look out for as a fan. Again, technique, footwork, speed, those things that you can take and apply them to when the pads come on, you know? Tight ends are the only offensive group that has depth. Even running backs only have one big guy. So if Caleb goes down, we only have Smurfs. I think you're just a little bit off base. I think you're. Are you a fan, Robert, of the Steelers? Just wondering. I'm not dogging you or not. I just wondered. Are you like a fan of the team, or are you like a fan of another team? I'm just curious. And I'm not saying you have to be a bandwagon fan because I believe in telling the truth. I just don't want to I don't want to sit here and overreach with a lot of our takes in terms of it's a disaster if one player. No, I don't know how you can say that there'd be a disaster if Aaron got hurt because I think Mason can win games. He's proven that to you many times. And Will Howard's young. Last time they threw out a really, really young quarterback, that people had a lot of high hopes for. It didn't work out that great in Kenny Pickett, but hey, you never know. It's a gamble with that. So I'm not like overly freaked out about it. I if Aaron goes down and he's out 2 or 3 weeks, I know Mason Rudolph can come in and go 2-1, 3-0. I know he can do that. And guys, I know people want to bitch about spending on defense, but I think they're going to have the league's best defense this year. I really, really do. Derek Harmon looks good. Y.A. Black looks good. Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton. I think that defensive front is going to be a formidable force. I think that secondary is going to be lights out. I think they're going to have the league's best defense, if not top three. I really do. You can bank that now. I don't usually predict a ton of shit because I don't think it's cool to do. But yeah, I think this defense is going to be able to win some ball games. And they got Chris Boswell. And Chris Boswell is the guy they need to get signed down. They need to figure out a new deal with Chris Boswell, in my opinion, because he's worth every fucking penny, baby. Jamal says Jaylen Morton is a dog, bro. I think so too. Oh, excuse me, guys. My stomach has hurt so bad today. But you just suck it up and push through. We did have football practice, youth practice. We got there and it got canceled because the lightning started striking after we practiced for about 20 minutes. Roberta says, I actually think this season is looking like we have more depth than we have for a few seasons now. I feel more comfortable this season. I if I put my fan hat on and I'm looking at this football team. I'm more comfortable with this team than I've been for any team in quite some time. I really am because I do like a lot of the players. Now, if this team can stay healthy, I think they can really make some waves. I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl team, but I'm saying they could do something. I bet they win a playoff game if they can remain healthy. I think that they're that type of football team, and I think you never know what happens whenever you get in a tournament. Mark Collins, the 10 best players available is top tackle is Jedrick Willis Jr. Who knows what may happen? Yeah, but injuries for Willis, man. You got to look at all these players too more in depth. You just can't say, hey, here's the thing about the free agency market, guys, right now, currently, when players that are getting released from their teams, you can't just say, oh, that they've been good before. You got to look at their injuries, why they got released. They're released for a reason, guys. If they were any good, if a left tackle's out there right now, and if they're any good, they would already be on a football team. Somebody would have paid them. There's a reason. There's a reason, guys. And I don't want to burst our bubbles because I want them to get players. And maybe you add a Willis for depth that he can come in and give you some starts. Maybe that is the case. But definitely you gotta really take a deep dive into them before you guys want to pick up or say the Steelers should pick up somebody because some of these players are dealing with a tremendous amount of injuries. Maybe there's some personal shit going on. You just don't. There could be a multitude of factors, is what I'm getting at. So it'd be great in theory, no doubt, because he's been a good player, throughout his career in the National Football League. So definitely, it's something you always explore. I agree with that, Mark. You always kick the tires on every player. You do your due diligence. You go out there and you figure it out. You do your due diligence. You look into everything about them and figure it out from there. But you really got to be careful and tread lightly. Yeah, I said that, man. I said that, Robert. I'm not big on this over investing in D thing. I think they've done just fine, in my opinion. But I may be wrong. You can't repeat. Don't repeat the same things. You know what I mean? Say something different. You said the over investing stuff. Like, there's other things you can talk about too. I just don't believe that they're too lopsided in what's going on. That's just my opinion. The NFL is in an era that rewards investing more in O. Steelers aren't going to win at all with an imbalanced investment in the 70s any more than the 2000s. I think they got a well-rounded football team. That's just my opinion. We'll know who's right or wrong come playoff time or when the season's happening. All right, guys, we're going to start wrapping it up here on the show. We'll be back tomorrow after the Steelers start hitting. Yeah, I agree. But, hey, we'll see how it goes, Robert. But we'll be back. Make sure you bring your questions. We'll see how practice goes. I am going to get the training camp sometime this week. We will be up there. So make sure if you see us, say hi and bullshit a little bit and hang out. We always don't have to agree. We can bullshit and have a good time. Yeah, they got a lot of defensive tackles and defensive ends and all that stuff right now. Just right now, it's kind of anytime, Jamal, because of youth football practice. I'm trying to find the groove, and right now we're just trying to figure it out. Okay, I just wonder. No, what do you mean recognize? I'm just asking. I was just asking a question. Please recognize. What are you talking about? I'm cool to you, man. I'm not a dick, man. I'll say my truth. You say your truth, and it is what it is. That's what the beauty of this thing is. But yeah, it is what it is. I was just asking. Thanks, TD. Thank you, Jamal. I appreciate you being in there, buddy. Yeah, I was just asking though if you were a fan. That's all. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Again, thank you always for joining us. We appreciate it, and these shows will get more and more and more involved as we continue to march toward that season, as we always do. When we're kicking a regular season, we rock the content day in, day out. So you guys know that'll be coming up real soon. So we'll see you on the next one. Until then, peace, my friends.
Power takes an approach as a coach.
Let's go. Let's go.
It's a field back block, and that's